Alright boys, one of the most annoying decks to face up against right now is Timelords. Now, a lot of people are saying it's the new troll deck, and I would say partially, because the deck does have a win condition, and it's not a bad deck, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and check it out in action. Guy's sentiment, he won. His name was Cubics, so shoutouts to the Cubics guy. But anyways, this guy goes for a power bomb play. Didn't even read the cards. What is this, low-rated duelist? I guess one of them is kind of low-rated. Don't even bother reading cards. Gets wrecked by his own power bomb, and then the monster gets sent back because that's what the Time Lords do. But anyways, I want to give a proper introduction to this deck. Now, I talked about a rank 10 Time Lord deck a few weeks back ago, and some of you guys wanted a more pure build, so I got you. Now this one is a Kaiju mix-up, so it is still very annoying to fight against, just like any Time Lord deck. But the deck is not bad at all. Like, I know that the most common answer to this is to bounce it back via an extra deck card, most likely Castell. But a lot of decks, they'll have like one Castell. I don't think that there's very many decks that have room in the extra deck, especially when Link Summons come out. After the one Castell, like that's it. Like, all of them have the ability to protect themselves. And I like the mix-up with the Kaijus because when you bounce back certain cards, you're going to burn your opponent for damage. And then on top of that, you're going to be able to actually get your cards back. The Kaijus that you use to tribute, and you can even bounce back your own Kaiju, get another Kaiju tribute an opponent's thing again, and then drop, like, Birdman is a really great addition to this deck. Now, this one has a little bit of spicy tech. I liked this guy's build over here. But you mixed in the Gallus. Now, there isn't the FTK in this build, but Gallus still opens up potential OTKs. But anyways, let's go and check out another replay. Then I'll give you a deck profile because some of you guys wanted some showcasing off that wasn't a rank 10 Time Lord deck because you guys maybe just didn't like that build, I guess. But anyways, so the Time Lords, they all have the ability to protect themselves. They can't be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage. You can't be destroyed by card effects. They all have that ability. And then they shuffle themselves back in. But they do some small amount of damage here and there. It's kind of mediocre. The fire one burns for 1,000. When we go to the deck profile, I'll kind of explain them more a little bit. One of them actually does heal you, so it doesn't actually do burn damage. But for the most part, they all do damage or like via like a burn effect, or they have the ability to like bounce back your opponent's entire graveyard, bounce back the entire back row, and then one of them bounces back all the monsters. There you go. There's that guy over here, and then he burns them from some small amount. So it is, again, it's one of the most painful decks to fight. Like, you guys know that, those of you guys that watch me play against this deck, you'll understand like the frustration that we had with this deck, because it's so annoying. Because like, you go for the one Castell, and then you try to OTK, and if they stop your OTK, then you're just out. Unless, of course, you reset the Castell. Now, this one build is a little bit different because it's a little bit faster. It has the ability to go for advanced draw and trade in, so kind of cycle your engine so you can go a little bit faster. And that's one thing I think the deck kind of needs. But you do have the Time Maiden, which you summon it, and you contribute it to add a Time Lord with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, and then you can banish it from the graveyard to special summon a Time Lord with 0 attack from your deck, and you get to ignore its summoning conditions. But you can't special summon other monsters during that turn, but it doesn't really matter. You really want one Time Lord on the board per turn because you want to summon it, you want your opponent to try to exhaust the resources. Like this guy, he's trying to negate this. This card cannot be destroyed. And he's going to go ahead and then tribute it, and then he's going to go ahead and set some cards. Now, I'm not really sure if Countergate is like the card that I would really recommend to you guys, but Countergate lets you stop an attack and then draw a card, and then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon it in face-up attack position. So it has its uses, so you can prevent yourself from getting OTK'd. But I think like Battle Fair just might be a better option, or Swift Scarecrow. Any of those cards where you can just kind of prevent yourselves from dying, because this technically is a trap. It has to go off, and you have to set it one turn in advance. And if your opponent pops something, then it's not so good because it has to be activated when an opponent monster declares an attack. But this duel over here, he actually uses Starlight. Look at this. He tries to use Dark Hole on his own card, and trying to get rid of that card, but like it's immune, so like low-rated duelist against the other guy's low-rated duelist over here. But I understand. It's probably because he didn't like read what the heck these Time Lords do. But again, this is one of the most painful decks to fight up against because the entire time it feels like a struggle when you play against this deck. And obviously when you win against this deck, it's so satisfying. Oh my gosh. But it is definitely, I would say, one of the top, well, it's definitely the newest deck that is super annoying to face up against. And I think most people will quit if you just summon the Time Lords, because you know that you're not going to OTK the guy unless you're playing something that, you know, you have a Kaiju. Most of the cards just, again, they just have that ability to just be super resilient on the destruction. I like how someone's Fossil Dyna over, so he's going to go ahead, negate the attacks. He was also playing Exodius, not that he can use it right now, anyways, but you actually shuffle all the monsters back, so you can kind of reset your engine, and basically all of them, just once again, they just kind of do the same thing, which is just kind of burn your opponent. We have a D Bear going to stop the Gustav Max from burning him to death. This is a really popular card back in the day with the rank 10 train deck that was more popular than the OCG because we got it way too late in the TCG. But I know some of you guys want the deck profile for this deck, so I'm going to go ahead and just showcase off the deck profile for this, what I would consider more of a pure build. I think Kaijus are an excellent addition. Now, we are seeing the new Kaijus with the exception of the Sadion. I'm just going to call him the Wind Time Lord because, I don't know, they might change the names for the TCG. I think they probably will be the same. They all end in like an I-O-N. But anyways, so they each have different effects. I'll briefly explain them by the colors. So it's because it's really easy to see via the colors. So anyways, the water one has the they all have the ability where you just, if you control no monsters, you can normal time without tributing, can't be destroyed by battle, cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you take no battle damage. And then at the end of the battle phase, they all have this little like effect. The blue one has the ability to shuffle all spell and trap cards your opponent controls into the deck. And then they all have the ability where, okay, actually this one has another effect. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can draw one card. But they all have the effect of once per turn during your standby phase, you have to shuffle the card into your deck. So basically, you summon a card, you hopefully do something with it, and you prevent yourself from dying, and then it goes back. And then you have another Time Lord that can do damage. Now, Medion is one of them that can deal damage. So this card has the ability, again, pretty much the same effects, but this one makes it so at the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, you get to return as many monsters on the field to the hand other than this card, and then you burn for 300 damage. So again, you're trying to recycle everything, and you just kind of stall, and you burn slowly, and you can beat your opponent. And then the Earth one over here has the ability to, if this card battled, you get to shuffle one card your opponent controls into the deck, and then you burn them for 500. And neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation, so they can't really stop this guy. But pretty much, most of these cards are kind of immune to things anyways, where they can't be destroyed by card effects, and you take no battle damage. But anyways, the fire one, during your, whenever your opponent draws a card. Now, I think this one's probably one of the best ones, especially if they're going to start drawing like crazy. But it is only once per turn, but, you know, obviously there's cards where you can draw during your turn and then your opponent's turn, going back to the Auro Mages. Not that that's a popular deck, but there are some cards that technically do search out during your opponent's turn. So you can start burning your opponent for some damage with Lazion, the Time Lord. So this guy, I'd say he's one of the greater ones because like you're gonna guarantee like that 1,000 pretty much for the most part every single time. But getting 2,000 with him, it's possible, but it's not too often you get that effect. Next up, we have Exodius. So this card is really good for the ability to potentially go for some rank 10 plays. Specifically, just trying to burn your opponent is the goal of the deck. I know that there's a lot of other cards in here that you could technically make, but pretty much I would say the only ones that you're going to be pulling off often are going to be the Gustav Max to get some extra burn damage, and then number 81, the Super Rail Cannon Superior Dora. I would recommend you guys to play at least 2 copies of the Gustav Max just because it's really easy to like use one, and if you happen to get it negated, maybe you might need one. So like another one, I should say. So I think like playing 2 of these and 2 of these is definitely optimal. But anyways, next up, as far as the Kaiju lineup goes, keep in mind when you bounce back the cards, if you tribute it and it's your Kaiju, you will get back your own Kaiju with Medion. So really good stuff, and there's extra plays with like Birdman stuff. But anyways, the Kaijus, really good stuff, being able to again tribute your opponent's stuff, and then potentially bouncing back your Kaiju, maybe tributing something else later on. Or if you just go for this, you bounce them all back anyways. Then we have 3 copies of Gamma Seal, and then we have the 1 Birdman. Now this one is more oriented around burn, and it tries to make the deck a little bit faster. I'm not sure if this is necessarily going to be for everyone. You guys can try to make the deck slower if you want to, and have a better potential to survive. Again, the thing that's going to beat this deck most of the time is either just one like people will have like 1 card in their deck to deal with them, and if they happen to have that card, then yeah, it's like it's like your extra out instead of like running the Gallus and Birdman would be to run things like Battle Faders with Scarecrow. So if anything goes wrong, you have another option. I've seen other decks like the one that we showcased off, I believe the Ring 10 one. I believe the other one had like Solemns, but if you guys want to play Solemns and D-Barriers, that's totally cool. But I think most of the players that might be interested in playing this because it is a budget deck that can keep it on the side to troll someone, get someone really frustrated, because it is, again, one of the most annoying decks right now to face up against. I've seen people just quit immediately when I was trying to spectate some people, seeing what the OCG was running. I was watching some Asian players, but if people see these, like, I understand why you guys quit on this deck. It's annoying. And it's not one of those decks that has like really explosive moves. I mean, one of the most explosive things you can do is summon a Medion and bounce back a bunch of monsters. But yeah, just anything like a Castell can kind of disrupt the deck, because keep in mind, you can still target them. However, there is a card called Mound of the Bound Creator, and that makes it so level 10 or higher cannot be targeted or be destroyed by card effects. And then a level 10 or higher monster on the field destroys a monster by battle and sends the graveyard. The player that controlled the destroyed monster takes 1,000 damage. And then on top of that, if this card is destroyed, you can add a Divine one, and you can go one step further and add the boss monster, the Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere mode. Whoops. I don't think this is a bad card. Like, honestly, when Link summons come out, guys, this could be a pretty good deck to face up against Links, because they're going to be swarming the board, right? Because you're going to have Link, and then if they want to make multiple Link cards, then you just go for this guy. Just bounce any of the Time Lords, really, because they're immune to things. You guys saw that during the plays, and some people just don't know how to play against it. I think Winged Dragon of Sphere mode, not a bad idea also in the deck, just because, the memes, right? But next up, we got a Max C, and then like another really good card. And if they get any more support, this deck could be really, really dirty to face up against. But anyways, the Time Maiden, I think I mentioned it already during the replays. But anyways, so it can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a Time Lord. But no one really is going to do that unless they're making some other Time Lord. That's why I'm thinking that this deck is going to get even more support, which I'm not too really excited about because I don't like playing against this deck. But anyways, you get to add a Time Lord monster with 0 attack from your deck, and then on top of that, you can banish it to just go for a Time Lord with, it says with 0 attack. Now at the moment, oh, I was like, whoa, there's this new Time Lord. I don't think there's any Time Lord with attack, but what that makes me think is they're going to make Time Lords that actually have attack, which again would make this deck even dirtier. I think there's, wait, hold on, isn't it Cephalon is a Time Lord, isn't it? Cephalon is the ultimate Time Lord. Hold on, is there more Time Lords that I was unaware of? Time Lord? I think, okay, Cephalon is the one exception that has damage. Okay, so you can't go for Cephalon, but I guess you could technically try Cephalon in this. I don't know, it just doesn't really fit the deck. I mean, because some of them shuffled things back. I don't know, because I've seen 2 builds play this, and they were running multiple, well, each one was playing something to reset the deck. The other one was playing the Exodius also. I think this is more so just used for the rank 10 plays, to try to make a game with like a softbacks, and at that point, don't worry about that. But like Cephalon can get back another one, even though these shuffle themselves back into the deck, and the off chance that someone gets rid of them, destroys them somehow, right? You have the ability to go for this, and it's supposed to summon a level 8 or higher, and its effects are getting it, and it becomes 4,000 attack. So you can summon this, get a 4K beater, and bam, 8,000, that's game, right? You throw down a Kaiju Unrelenting Slumber, game. Really, really good stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I think that there's probably more Time Lords. Otherwise, why make this card and have the restriction? Why not just say except for Cephalon? I don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully, the support won't make the deck too OP, because again, like I said, no one really, well, unless you're playing this deck, you don't really want to play against it. But anyways, oh, I guess if you play Madolches, right? Madolches, they don't target, and yeah, that could be an option. That is a counter to this deck, right? Anyways, next up we got 3 copies of Trade-In, and then 2 copies of Advanced Draw. This is a different build that I haven't seen anyone play some draw power in this build, deck. But next up we got the Foolish Burial, 2 copies of Uninterrupted Kaiju Slumber, 2 Twin Twisters, 3 copies of Countergate. Not really a fan of this card, honestly, but it just prevents you from getting OTK'd potentially, and lets you draw a card, summon another Time Lord. You could sack someone with this, I guess, in a sense, but keep in mind they do go back anyways. But I would remove this card, but that's my take on this deck. But this was the original one, as the guy Cubic did send it to me. But I think these were other cards he was testing out. Now, there is one other Time Lord that was not ran in here. I don't think it's bad to play one of, but anyways, this one has the effect of after a battle or after it attacks that involve this card. At the end of the battle phase, if you have less than 4,000, your life points become 4,000. So if you take some damage earlier on, you can use this, heal back up. And I was thinking that you could do some potentially other plays with this, where you reduce your life points and then swap. I mean, there's cards called Question, and you could do dirty stuff with that, like swap. I think it's called Question, where you swap life points, and then at that point you'll be good to go. Or I guess it'd be a counter to Question if they hit you with that card. But for the most part, it's irrelevant. There's also this other card called a Wild Monster appears. So if everyone controls a monster, you control no monsters. You just push someone from your hand one monster with original level 10 or lower that cannot be normal summoned or set. And you ignore summoning conditions, but for the rest of the turn, you cannot normal summon or set or special summon, and your opponent takes no damage. But anyways, that is the overview of the new annoying deck, the Timelords. Please don't play this deck against me. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And I think this will be a very good budget deck, and it's also non-link summon, so there will be a lot of players that like this because, again, you don't need a link summon. It looks pretty budget right now. Again, most of the Timelords are pretty cheap as of right now. I remember this card was seeing some play back when Dino Rabbit was seeing some play. But anyways, that's pretty old, and I'm pretty sure this card has gotten some reprints. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm signing out.